born on 10th of January 1966, a holder of an ordinary Turkish passport number U204700175, issued on 19th July 2018, that according to the records with us, is valid until 19th July 2028. This gentleman, or this national of Turkey, applied for an investor work permit, Class G. I will explain why the work permits are classified. For example, shortly I will demonstrate to you that if you apply for a work permit Class G, it means that you are supposed to operate within the country according to our law, because you can apply for a different class of work permit which enables you to be a regional worker. Like now, the international companies that we have here, the IT companies, IBM and the rest, they get their managers apply for a work permit, but they are working in the region. Those who are regional managers, they move around and so on. So anyway, this national applied for Class G of a work permit on the 24th of November 2020, and a company called Unit 2 HA Investment Energy Africa. And in the documents he provided, he said that he was working in the energy sector. He actually provided the immigration department with a contract, purportedly, that he had been given to work within the energy sector, which we have since discovered was actually a dummy contract. It wasn't the real contract, as it were. Then the work permit was issued in June. The process took a bit of time. The work permit was issued in June. Mr. Chairman, with your kind indulgence, I need to explain this. Because we have all been working to ensure that as an investment destination, we do well on the World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index. We designed about 5 years ago, as part of that, a system of issuing work permits. We first of all start with the front desk qualifications, which are prescribed in the Act. And secondly, we digitized the entire system so that when we issue work permits, we have all the information within our digital records, and everyone we give a work permit, we then follow up as they progress, so that we are sure that they are doing what they say they are going to do in their work permits, or they are not doing what they are supposed to do. So as for the qualifications that are provided for in the Act, providing a CL12 in terms of the incorporation of the company, filling out the forms he was supposed to fill online, the cover letter that he needed for his activities, the biodata and the national passport, very basic, what I'm calling front desk qualifications. He passed master, we gave him a work permit on the 25th of June 2021. Of course, because our system is digitized, when we give people work permits, and I'm probably disclosing sensitive information, but we are not the only ones who do that as a government. This is now practiced all over the world. We also are members of the PICES, so we can trace those who have, everyone who has a work permit to work in this country. When they make a movement, we know, and we can tell, what they are doing. So after this gentleman was given a work permit, we noticed in tracing his movement on his passport that he was moving around. He was in Sudan, Goma, Zanzibar, Entebbe, and of course our sister intelligence and security agencies, because, Mr. Chairman, again, I need to let the committee know that as a government we have signed agreements, security and intelligence information sharing agreements with so many governments. And when people see things, they flag up issues, or they raise issues. So one of our sister security agents flagged up this gentleman for two reasons. One, they noticed that he had been traveling around the region, and two, they noticed that he was keeping the company of people who are involved in money laundering. one of his associates in a neighboring country had actually been arrested in a third country while he was bribing a minister. So when this was flagged to us, we of course also got interested in this person. That is how we tracked his movement. We saw he's in Sudan, he's in Zanzibar, Goma, Uganda, and all that kind of thing. That is behavior in most cases characteristic of people who are engaged in money laundering. And you know, money laundering and terrorism are crimes that are usually joined in the hip. So anyway, when this came to our attention and this matter was flagged, we sought to get more information on this person. We noticed also when we looked at his passport that he has left the country twice without a stamp of having arrived in the country. In his passport, when you look at the records in his spices and in his travel. Now, what that means in practical terms is that 2 times he was sneaked into the country. Because if you leave the country, as you know, honorable members, all of you have traveled, when you arrive, your passport is stamped that you have arrived. But if you are leaving tomorrow and there's no stamp on when you arrived, the first question someone asks is, how did you come here in the first place? And this happens to all of us. It's not just foreign nationals or those who have work permit. Even you, if you attended a conference in Arusha, your passport will be stamped that you came into the country from Tanzania. Next time you are traveling, again the stamp will be there, but we noticed in his passport that 2 times he has a stamp for departure, but he doesn't have a stamp for arrival, which means 2 times he had been sneaked into the country. All this is evidence of an undesirable immigrant or an undesirable person. So we arrested him, and immediately this information came to our notice. As you know, again, especially some of you who have worked with the government systems before, immediately it was in our hands. The security agencies in our country were in touch with the security agencies in his country. And so we agreed with the security agencies in his country that the best thing would be, and we do that on the basis of mutuality all the time, we surrender him to his country so that they can then deal with him or process him. So that is actually what happened. So we deported him on the understanding that we had with the Turkish government, because as you know, that Turkey is one of our prominent partners, and our relationship with Turkey is growing. Our trade relations are becoming stronger and stronger. We have had exchange visits between their leader and our president was there recently. So it's a country we have a very close relationship with. And security agencies both from our country and that country work together all the time, and we share information all the time. So when we arrested him, we immediately got in touch with the security agencies there, and we were in communication throughout with them. And we agreed with them mutually that we surrender him to them so that they can deal with him. Finally, has the government of Kenya apologized? No, we haven't apologized. Why would we apologize? Because why would we apologize for doing what we agreed we were supposed to do? Because we were in communication with the Turkish government throughout, we surrendered the assistance to them as we had agreed with them. Why would we apologize? Number 2, you know, we are a government, Mr. Chairman. We are a country that is run by law and order and has got very strict frameworks. We are members of so many security sector agencies, so many international conventions govern our conduct. There's a way in which governments deal with each other. We're not an under the tree ramshackle operation, you know, where we don't, because there's a way, under the Geneva Convention, there's a way in which a government communicates with another government. There isn't a note verbal. In this case, the instrument will be a note verbal signed by our Principal Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Macharia, or signed by our Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Rachel Mamo. There isn't a document of that kind, because there is no need. We were in constant communication with the security team that side. We handed over their citizen as we agreed so that they can process him. there would never have been need to apologize. And then secondly, apologies, as I said, Kenya is a government that is a signatory to all these conventions. We would apologize, A, if there was a challenge, now there was no need. B, there are instruments we would use to apologize. There isn't an instrument that is existent, so we haven't apologized because there is no need to, and there's nothing that has gone wrong. Finally, Mr. Chairman, we've handled this matter with the seriousness that any government is supposed to deal with these issues. Mr. Chairman, I need to inform this committee. Over the last 2 years, I have deported over 40 people of this kind because we have to protect our country. You know, when Kwankles turn up at our country, or some fly-by-night briefcase carriers who call themselves investors and so on, we will give them a permit if they are serious people. But that's why we digitized our system, so that we're able to follow them. The most sensational case, I can remind you, Mr. Chairman, was when we deported some pilots, you know, who ended up giving all manner of excuses here, oh, we're married to Kenyans and so on and so forth. That doesn't make sense according to the law.